W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wallow and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in, everybody, on a very chilly January 27th day, getting close to the end of the month, big day today. Let me just start out by saying this. If my voice sounds a little different, I will tell you I have a cold. And I know that it's a cold. I know because we think in this day and age, if you have any kind of symptoms, you got COVID. And my wife is a teacher, and she teaches little ones that aren't old enough, some of them, to get vaccinated. I'm going to go in the locker room today, and I'm going to talk to Penny Hardaway and players. I certainly don't want to be the guy that gets a whole collegiate basketball team infected. So yesterday, when I was feeling bad, I really wasn't feeling bad, but I had a cold. I have a runny nose. I have a cough. That's it. That's all I got. I don't really have that much congestion either. But you know that runny nose thing? That is a symptom. And I'm not going to be that one. So thanks to the team doctor and the team trainer, last night, I went to South Campus, and I had two tests, a rapid test and a lab test. We're going to be doubly sure. And I waited my 20, 25 minutes, negative. Guy goes, okay, I'm just going to send this into the lab, but you look pretty good because that was a really good rapid test. I go, okay, I certainly want you to do that because I don't want to be the one. And this morning, negative on the lab test, which is really reliable. So I'm good. But it's also proof that in America today, you can still catch the common cold. And when you got temperature fluctuations and you're on as many airplanes as I am, that stuff happens in the winter. But I just wanted everybody to know I don't have COVID, and I can verify it with my test results. In the meantime, Grizz win last night at San Antonio. They have just got the Spurs number. That is the fourth in a row. Ja Morant was so clutch. He made free throws at the end. So they have this stat that we double-checked on, J-Mo and I. The stat is called clutch points. The number 3 clutch player by this particular metric, which, by the way, is points in the last 5 minutes of a game that you are either up or down 5 points. So it's critical for either cutting into the lead or maintaining the lead. Ja Morant is third in the NBA in clutch points. He is behind only Joel Embiid, number 1, and Nikola Jokic, number 2. That's pretty good company right there, and two pretty good teams, and the Grizzlies should be in that statement with pretty darn good teams. He also sees his free throw percentage go up. I want to say it's like 7 or 8 points during those last 5 minutes because he's at like 86% in the last 5 minutes of a game in those clutch periods, as opposed to, I want to say it's like 78% total. And I don't know if you'll recall, but when we were talking about that leap from one year from the second year to the third year where the great ones usually go, I said the great ones usually make free throws at the end of games. And earlier this year, Ja was not doing that, but he's doing it now, and he did it last night, and that's part of the reason why they were winners. And today is the All-Star Reveal Day, and there's no question in my mind. And if anybody was doubting and they watched last night, they couldn't watch last night. If we were giving out Russ today, we give a Russ to ESPN. They chose the Heat-Knicks game, which was a Miami blowout, while this Spurs game went down to the wire. I mean, it was a great game. So ESPN missed it, so the nation missed the last chance they had to see Ja before this All-Star thing. And, wow, he was really, really good. And they win. Triple J was really good, too. He had 6 blocks in the game. So He's just set a franchise record. 39 blocks in 10 games. Even with my meager math skills, I can tell you that's 3.9 blocks per game. We're talking 4 blocks a game in a 10-game stretch. That's impressive. They had 9 blocks last night as a team. They're just playing. They shot 51%. They had 9 steals to go with that. They win the points easy, the rebound thing easy. So here they are. I think it's a 2.5 game lead on the 3 seed over Utah.
And they're pulling away. They're going to stay. I was questioning earlier if they could stay at top and play at this level. I think they're going to certainly be a 3 or 4 seed come playoff time. At the lowest 5, I mean, I just don't see them having like a losing skid anytime soon.
Well, there were some people that thought they're not making the playoffs this year. And I will confess that preseason, I thought they would be a play-in team, which means they would be the 9 or 10 seed. And I'm with you. I don't think they'll be any worse than 4. Unless the Mavericks have their number.
And they're hot, too. Mavs are playing really well.
But neither team has been at full strength for the most part. So that'll be fun sort of to watch when all of that occurs. It is revenge night for Memphis. They take on East Carolina. We know this, and we're going to talk in just a couple of minutes with Commercial Appeal beat writer Jason Munz, who, by the way, he did a great job. He looks at the video and stuff, and he pointed out in a piece, which blew me away, in the last 24.9 seconds that Memphis had to defend against Tulsa, Alo, on a bad ankle. He was wearing a boot afterwards. I saw him last night, by the way. He's okay. He's going to play. Nolly Williams Hardaway will not play. Duren is a game-time decision. But Munz looked at that videotape, and he watched it several times, and he points out in this piece that Alo guarded in that stretch because of switches and everything else 4 of the 5 Tulsa offensive players. That's incredible. He also pointed out that it's been a tough year for Lester Quinones, but Quinones put the brakes on their best player. He would not allow any space to get open their best offensive player, Jariah Horn. So that was really one heck of a defensive effort. So here you go tonight. East Carolina, they may be without 2 key guys. And we know the Tigers are going to be without at least 3, so it will be interesting to watch. Before Jason joins us, I'll let you know we're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios, and that floor model sale thing is still going on, and I really urge you, go check it out, because I just called there the other day. They still have several floor models. They've got massage chairs and theater seating and foosball and things like that. But here's the best part. They're getting in new spas. They're getting in new pools. They're still going to give you the discount if you get over there during this floor model sale. So make your way to I-40 and Whidden Road. The floor model sale continues, and family and fun all come together at Family Leisure. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, free furnace time. It's cold. Not a lot of business in January, a lot of times. So John, he's got to figure out a way to spark business. What he does is he gives things away. He really does. He gives away a Carrier 80% gas furnace if you purchase the standard state-of-the-art Carrier air conditioning system. Yeah, it's that simple. You buy the air conditioning system, you get a gas furnace for free. And John says I'm going to throw in an April air cleaner, 10-year parts warranty. I'll give you a free Nest thermostat, too, which is state-of-the-art. That's about $2,000 in savings, maybe a little more. And how about this? I'll give it to you for as low as $139 a month or 12 months interest-free. Anybody can afford that. Get into the 2022s. Get your new system with a free gas furnace from Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. Jason Munz, as promised, joins us now. Loved your piece on Alo and on that defense that Memphis had the last 24.9 seconds in Tulsa. In a game, really, they had to have. Jason, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Yes, well, that is good. We have basketball today, so that is a good thing.
It is. It's excellent, and it's a revenge game for sure with East Carolina. I think if you ask any player, they were. That might have been the most bummed I've seen that team all year long.
Yeah, well, I mean, to lead by 19, and I mean, like to lose on a buzzer beater is one thing, but to lose on a buzzer beater after leading by 19, and then the fact that it was like coming right off the disappointing loss at UCF. Yeah, I could imagine where the guys were a little bit more than normal disappointed, and so I'm sure they've been licking their chops for the last couple of weeks waiting on this game.
A lot of people, Jason, think the Tulsa win with that defensive stand at the end and coming back from down 15 in the second half, that will be the turnaround for this team. That it's just a matter of time. And, they got to get players back, and there's not going to be Nolly Williams or Hardaway, and maybe no Dern again tonight. Do you think that was a watershed moment in Tulsa?
I think it could be. I think that, especially given the way things are setting up after it. I mean, look, that was a place they hadn't won in a decade. So you got that. That there's that part of it. You get that monkey off your back. You get the part about how you've stopped a 3-game losing streak. So there's that. You get the thing where you're down by 15 and you overcome that. Like there was just a lot of things that sort of stacked up that, I mean, and then you mentioned it, the defensive stand at the end where, they couldn't have, I'm not sure they could have played that possession better unless they forced an actual turnover. But like, I think this is the way I wrote it. They didn't get credit for a steal, but like it was as good as probably 3 steals the way that whole thing went down. And so, you take all that into account, the fact that, and then you spin it forward, you get what's expected to be an undermanned ECU game at home in a revenge game right after it. And then you get a week off before you go to Cincinnati. And then, you at that point, you hope that you're healthier. And so, yeah, like I think that just the way the circumstances are sort of setting up here after that Tulsa game, it very well could be, we could look up in a month and they've won, 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6 or even 5 in a row or 6 in a row. And if that's the case, I think you have to, look back in the rearview mirror and point to the Tulsa game as the one that got them back on the right track.
Ken Pomeroy was on with Greg and Eli this morning, and he was sort of downplaying the fact that Memphis has struggled. He talked about the injuries, mm-hmm. and if this team does finally get everybody back, and you would think certainly Dern will be back. He's got a cut on his finger. If he's not back tonight, he's back for Cincinnati. They got a whole week off, as you mentioned. You got to figure Williams and Ollie. I saw Williams last night. He says he's close. He's not playing tonight. I'd have to think when they come back, it'll again be the question of rotations, but Memphis can turn this around.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, it's the injuries are very real, and it's been a revolving door. It's not just been, a lot of people have been, these last couple of weeks have been comparing Memphis to Houston and their injury situation. Like, well, Penny Hardaway is saying that we have injuries. Well, other teams have, this is what other people are saying. Other teams have injuries. Case in point, Houston lost 2 of their best players, if not 2 of the very best players they have earlier this year. And yet here they are 16-2 and rolling right along. Well, I don't know. The way I look at it is, yeah, they lost 2 of their best players, but this is also a team that's coming off a Final Four run, number 1. This is a team that's got one of the best coaches in the country in Kelvin Sampson, number 2. And number 3, they lost their guys pretty much right at the beginning of the season. And you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that they weren't coming back. So, like, you're not in this limbo state, or you're not in this revolving door state where you never know from day to day who you're going to have. And then, 1 week you're missing these 3 players. The next week you're missing a different 3 players. The next week it's a different 3 players. So I think that makes it harder. Not making excuses. It's just to me, it's a fact. And so, if you are Memphis and you hit a good spot in the schedule with some days off, and you're getting closer with some of these guys, like you mentioned, Duren and Williams, you have to think that this particular stretch coming up is very, very favorable for Memphis if they can get healthy. And I mean, you mentioned, the more guys you get back, the harder it is with the rotation. Well, I think if you, as we've seen over these past few weeks, if you had your choice to deal with a ton of injuries or a ton of guys, messing up the rotation, I think you take the healthy team and the rotation issues over the just crazy amount of injuries.
Well, I think what we have seen is Minot is starting to learn the game and what Memphis is trying to do. He's a guy that is the beneficiary of these guys being out, and he's going to end up being a solid rotation guy, maybe a starter the rest of the way. We know that. I think we know now the value of Alo. He was maligned. He's not been 100%. The kid is so gutty to play through all this. But if he continues to play the way he has the last couple of games with the turnover ratio and the defense, he's got to be a part of it. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. And it'll be interesting to see where Bates comes in all of this, because it's pretty clear Bates has a role, no doubt, as a shooter. Bates as a finisher has a problem.
Yeah. It's just not quite coming together yet, and that's not to say it won't. He's just got to either adjust his game or get stronger, or adapt. I mean, like that's really what it boils down to is if you're going to try to be that, that penetrating bucket getter type guy, then you've got to either, you've got to start accounting for the fact that you're not going to get the whistle.
Right.
You cannot assume that you're going to go into the lane, and if you get bodied up, you're going to get the whistle. So you got to adapt. Otherwise, you've got to, you've got to tailor your game more toward, if you're going to go to the basket, it's got to be in transition. And if not, you're a perimeter guy at this point. And the sticky part with that is, you're talking about guys who've benefited from all these injuries. What about Tyler Harris? He's not going anywhere now. He has full on established himself as a leader on the floor, both in production and also just general leadership. So it's definitely going to be interesting. But the way I look at it is, the rotation, I think, can be a problem early in the season, maybe even midway through the season. But once you get to February and March, I think guys understand that, it's for the, you're playing for something a little bit different in February and March than you were in November and December, and you hope that if guys see their minutes decrease when DeAndre Williams comes back and Jalen Duren comes back and those sorts of things, that it doesn't cause any issues.
Your point about Harris, he's definitely established himself. Now he's averaging, I think, 18 points a game in the last 5 games.
That's crazy.
One of those games, a little artificial at the end, the SMU game, when they were just giving him layups. But other than that, he was certainly critical. And at the end of games, you take him out for defensive substitutions, and this whole thing can work. That is for sure. All right, your last thing. Do you think if they were to win every home game and lose, let's just say, at Houston, maybe at SMU or Cincinnati, just 2 of those losses, enough to get in if you get to the championship game in the tournament?
I'd still be a little nervous, because you've got the road loss at East Carolina. You've got the road loss to Georgia. The Ole Miss loss. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could very easily be wrong, but I think that you're going to need 2 of the 3 road games that you just said. Either whatever combination it is, Houston, SMU, Cincinnati. I think you got to get at least 2 of those 3 to, under the scenario that you painted, getting to the championship game of the conference tournament. I think you got to win all your home games, and you got to get at least 2 of those 3 wins versus SMU, Cincinnati, or Houston. Just, I don't know. There's something nagging at me about the loss to East Carolina on the road, and the Ole Miss and the Georgia. Those, and I know Georgia just beat who they just beat? Alabama.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Which diminishes your win a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're down to 1 quad 1 win, and that's looking less and less solid right now. So I think there's still some work to do.
Thank you, my friend, as always. We appreciate it. I'll see you tonight.
Yes, I look forward to it.
Me too. That is Jason Munz, the fine beat writer for the commercial appeal of the U of M. He's brought to you by one of the hometown partners of the Tigers. That is Old Dominick Distillery, right in the heart of downtown at 305 South Front Street. Just a few things that I love. First of all, it is your hometown distillery, and they do these great tours. 45 minutes, they call it a sensory journey. It starts with the history of Old Dominick, which begins with Domenico Canali, and then you learn the craft of distilling. Ooh, and it's cool. You'll learn it from grain to glass, what they do. And then it ends with a tasting of their portfolio of spirits that you will love. They got a bourbon coming out. I'm telling you, it's going to become famous because the master distiller, Alex Castle, she knows exactly what she is doing. They also got this really cool bar. It's elegant but not stuffy, good for late-night mixologists. Yeah, they're there. They'll make you that old-fashioned or Manhattan or whatever you will fancy. They will do it at Old Dominick. We'll pause for a second. When we come back, I almost forgot. We've got 4 tickets, right, for a family, or however you want to do it. But the third caller at the AutoZone text line, 901-360-8255. But by the way, these are really good tickets. Section 108. So they're on the lower bowl, and they're in the corner. A lot of people, like George Lapidus, that was his favorite seat, was to sit in a corner. Because you can, without turning your head, and you can see the lanes and everything else. These are really good seats. For the third caller at 901-360-8255, the AutoZone listener line will give you 4 tickets to tonight's game between the Tigers and the Pirates. We're back with Russell Copeland on the NFL in just a minute.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
The global shortage on chicken is finally over, but there are still places that will tell you that it is hard to find, except for our good friends at Poultry Power. Poultry Power is currently delivering chicken in bulk to your home or business at prices lower than your local grocer or food distributor. Having a cookout or catering event? Tired of being told no by other food companies when you need chicken for your restaurant? Poultry Power can save the day. Visit www.poultrypower.org to place your order now. And remember, when others tell you no, Poultry Power has the power to tell you yes.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios, grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers, everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
The new year means the Start Something New sales event is on, so get ready at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude, $339 a month or $26,250. And get ready for adventure in 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude, $429 a month. Get Stone Cold Strength in 2021 Dodge Charger XST at $459 a month. And the Muscle Masterpiece 2021 Dodge Challenger GT, $488 a month. Trade up and we'll give you more for your ride at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. So drive past the rest and come to the best or shop online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 months, 3.99 APR. Must finance with Chrysler Capital, 3,500 down. Renegade MPN 27,951, MSRP 28.5. Cherokee MD 235,765, MSRP 32,090. Charger XSD MH 659,742, MSRP 35,385. Challenger GT MH 66,5256, MSRP 37,475. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/3/2022 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Why don't you all fade away?
We are going to talk with our good friend Russell Copeland. I got so much to speak with Russell Copeland about. It's amazing. First, let me tell you, it's brought to you by James Davis. That is the men's store of Memphis, without a doubt. Right there in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. The only place with the Stant system. That's where you take for pants 2 different measurements. And then out comes a perfect pair of pants. Shirts, 3. It's amazing. The only place in Memphis you can get the Stant system, reasonable price, takes about 3 weeks now, is at the Laurelwood Shopping Center at James Davis. Go see Shine. Go see the gang. All the new fashions are in for the winter. Soon it'll be spring. Always on top of their game. James Davis Men's Store. All right, Russell. Excuse me.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. I got so much to talk to you about. All right. 2 hirings, apparently, this morning. They are the Bears hiring Matt Eberfluss, defensive coordinator for the Colts. For me, boy, he's going to have to prove it. He's going to have to be like Missouri and show me, because I was really hoping for an OC.
Absolutely. One thing about it, Dave, he has, been around the block in the coaching as far as college for a very long time. He's had a stint with the Dallas Cowboys, had that defense playing very well. But I totally agree with you. I would want to see a offensive-minded coach to come in and get Justin Fields ready to play. But, the Bears are in a black and blue division. I think you have to look at the competition that they're going against, and hopefully that he can go out and hire one of these great offensive coordinators to get Justin Fields. But I was a little bit surprised with that for the Chicago Bears. Yeah.
I really was. And then the Broncos apparently are hiring Nathaniel Hackett. He's the offensive coordinator at Green Bay. So the rumors are now out there that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams will end up in a Denver Bronco jersey.
Well, I mean, that remains to be seen. But I think when you look at a copycat league and when you look at what Tom Brady was able to do, leaving New England Patriots and then going to Tampa Bay and bringing a couple of players with him, I definitely can see that. But you never know with Aaron Rodgers. But I do think that his days in Green Bay Packers is done. I think the writing was on the wall once they drafted Love. their first-round pick. And Denver Broncos is looking for a quarterback. They went out and got Peyton Manning. So I definitely can see that. And you look at the receiving core that they have, and you bring on Adams. I think right now in that division where the Denver Broncos are in with Patrick Mahomes, that would definitely be really good for the Denver Broncos.
And then the final story of this morning, because you got 2 of the 9 jobs being filled, and the third one has nothing to do with coaching, but it's the retirement. We all expected it. Big Ben Roethlisberger, will step down from being a player. His amount of playoff passing percentages and receptions and things of that nature really kind of blow me away, how many he's had. What do you think you'll remember Ben Roethlisberger for?
I think his leadership, his toughness, how he was able to stand in the pocket and just come in time and time again, playing in really big games, being a young player, winning a Super Bowl, but just being the face of this franchise, being consistent for so many years. But I think he fit the Pittsburgh Steelers mold as being very tough, Big Ben. You look at a steel country. I think his career, I think you appreciate it, Dave, more as you're talking about your reading. A lot of the accolades that he has been able to do over his career, I think you'll look back and you appreciate it more, especially when you look at franchises that do not have a quarterback and they're looking for a quarterback. And once you have a franchise quarterback such as Big Ben, how long does it take that organization to get back in the fold of playing for playoffs and ultimately trying to play for championships and Super Bowls?
All you have to do is look at the quarterbacks that are at the helm of our conference championships, and you can certainly understand that. He's a Canton guy, isn't he?
Absolutely. First ballot Hall of Fame. But you just look at that class that he was a part of. That was another great class of quarterbacks. But Big Ben has had a tremendous career. And I think what's unfortunate, and I look at Eli Manning, I look at Big Ben, you look at toward their end of the career, the criticism that those type of players get. No, they're not the players that they used to be, but they're still able to lead their team. And I think leadership is very, very important. But he's had a tremendous career.
All right, let's talk about last weekend, and let's just start with the overtime rule. What is your sense? You're a player. You were the offensive side. I think the coin flip decided that game because I think if Buffalo had won it, they would have scored a touchdown. I think that's unfortunate. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, I've been asked that question, 1,000 times. I think, first of all, in the regular season, I think there should be a winner. In the National Football League, the way the competition is, I think a winner should be decided in the regular season. But for me, I'm different. Yes, I am an offensive player. But when you look at that football game going back and forth, you have offense, defense, and special teams. Yes, the coin toss was lost. But you have a defense. You have the number one overall defense, against the pass. If you can hold that team to a field goal, your offense gets back on the field. Everyone has a job to do. And I know people say, hey, Josh Allen did not get a chance to get the football. But that's the way the rules are. I think your defense has to come out and you have to play. They did not play. That defense did not play well the entire football game. They did not play well in the fourth quarter. They did not play the last couple of minutes of that football game, and they did not play very well in overtime.
My question for you, and I respect your opinion there, I think the rule needs to be changed for the playoffs. Just the way they go from a 10-minute overtime and allowing ties, they change that. My question for you is, tell me honestly, if Josh Allen got the football, do you think they would have scored a touchdown?
I do. I definitely do. The way Josh Allen was playing, the way he was able to thread that defense, Gabriel Davis, man, what a game that he had. But just for me, when you're in the National Football League, I think something has to say, hey, you're in the National Football League for a reason. And I just don't think both teams should be able to get the football. I think that's what you have a defense for. Let's face it. I mean, defensive players get paid a lot of money. If you can hold them to a field goal, we didn't say a touchdown, a field goal, your offense gets a chance to get back on the field. And I totally agree with the rule. But since everyone is talking about it, and that's was probably one of the best games I've ever seen, the rule probably would get changed. But for me, I like that rule.
I mean, that was the craziest game ever. 13 seconds. I mean, and you're right. That's bad defense. The Rams, they got lucky because there was bad defense in their game, allowing Kupp to be so open down the stretch. I mean, there was crazy stuff. I don't know what the Titans were doing there with the way they played, and they get sacked 9 times. They get a sack 9 times in the game on Joe Burrow, and yet 3 interceptions kind of equalize that thing.
And Dave, we talk about it's a quarterback-driven league, and when you look at the Tennessee Titans, I've said it a lot. They're like the Cleveland Browns. Their success offensively is built on running the football, and I think Ryan Tannehill is a good, solid quarterback. But I do not think that he is an elite quarterback, meaning that he can take a football team, if you do not have the run, and put a team on his back and win. And in the playoffs, you have to have a quarterback that can be able to work his magic, that can be able to score a lot of points. And I just think that that needs to be looked at, but I'm sure he'll still be the quarterback. But you need a solid quarterback when it comes to the playoffs, and I think that was shown last week against the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, well, we've got quarterbacks in this thing. You got Burrow and you've got Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
You got Stafford and you got Jimmy G. Jimmy G probably the least flashy here. He's serviceable, but he doesn't have the big numbers. Let's start with the Rams and the Niners. The Niners they won the season series this year. I think they've won, 6 in a row?
6 straight.
6 straight. In a row over the Rams, yet the Rams are the favorite in the game by more than a field goal, and it just seems right. I kind of think that is correct, but the Niners never seem to get respect. Where do you put this game?
Man, I just love this matchup. This is another matchup where they have the familiarity. They played in the conference, and we just talked about it. The 49ers have won 6 straight games, and one of those games was the last week of the season where they were down 17-0. But I think it's going to be very difficult to be able to win again, to win 7 straight. But I think the game is going to come down to the defense, and ultimately it's going to come down to which one of these quarterbacks can go against both of these great defenses and not make the least mistakes. And I know you said earlier that you did not trust the Rams quarterback. You do not trust Matthew Stafford. And I say the same thing about Jimmy G. I feel like Jimmy G is a game manager. He's a solid quarterback. But time and time again, Dave, he ends up having a meltdown in some of the biggest moments in a football game. And I think that's going to be the difference for both of these quarterbacks, because Matthew Stafford has looked great in some games, and he's looked like the Matthew Stafford that's played for the Detroit Lions. I just think overall it's time for Matthew Stafford to be able to go to the Super Bowl, and I think relying on his defense and with his weapons, with Kupp, with Odell Beckham Jr., I think running the football with Akers, I think they'll have enough to win this game. But I think it's going to come to the wire. I think it's going to be another great game, as we saw last weekend.
Last weekend was one of the great weekends of all time in the National Football League. And then here's Cincinnati, the upstarts with Joe Burrow, the new darling, against the old darling, and that's Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City's defense has sort of been like Matthew Stafford, though. Sometimes they play really well. Sometimes they don't play so well. What's going to happen on Sunday? By the way, that's the biggest line for a conference championship I can remember. Last I saw was 7.5. The Chiefs at home were the favorites. That's a lot. But I do think Kansas City should be the favorite in the game. I don't know if it's that many.
Well, I'm not going to say that many, but when you look at it, let me start with the new kids on the block, the Cincinnati Bengals. This is their first AFC championship since 1988. They won their first playoff game since 1990. And what Joe Burrow has been able to do for this offense, the swagger that he has, the athletic swagger, the confidence that he has just been unbelievable. And I think when you look into this game, you have to have confidence. I think the confidence that the Cincinnati Bengals have, when you look at when they played, in Week 17, Kansas City Chiefs needed to win that football game. And Kansas City Chiefs did not make any mistakes, and they lost that football game 34-31. And they didn't make the mistake by giving the football back to Patrick Mahomes. They were able to win that football game. Jamar Chase, 3 touchdowns, 266 yards. Joe Burrow had 466 yards with 4 touchdowns. So they have the confidence coming in. But here's that bad man, Patrick Mahomes. And I think for both of these teams, they'll have confidence. But for Patrick Mahomes, I think the game last week for that football team, they say, listen, we have to come back out and play. This team is not afraid of us. Let's make sure that we get out to not only a 14-point lead, let's make sure that we finish the football game. I just think overall, the Achilles heel for the offensive line for the Bengals will be the difference in this game. I think Joe Burrow will be able to throw the football. There's not a question about that. But his Achilles heel will come up to show. 9 sacks. He was sacked 9 times by the Titans. I don't think the line for the defensive line for for the Chiefs is not as good as the Titans. But I do think that they'll get after Joe Burrow. That will be the difference in this football game. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think it can go back and forth, similar to what we saw last week, Dave, between the Bills and the Chiefs. But I like the Chiefs. I think it's Patrick Mahomes' year. Again, he's the face of the franchise. I think he goes on to the Super Bowl.
Chiefs and Rams, those are your picks. I love it. Oh, last thing before we let you go. You'll love this. Anthony Jones, the guy that is the running back coach for the U of M that you would have liked to have seen elevated to the OC. He did get an honor this week. He got accepted into this. I think there's only 25 guys around the country they picked to go to this sort of clinic where, they sort of give you tips on how to become head coaches. And awesome. It was a great honor for him. So I'm happy for him in that regard. And, of course, he will be helping Matt Barnes out because Matt said to us the other day, Tim Cramsey, he said he wasn't going to make any personnel changes. So this staff will stay intact with the exception of the two coordinators. As always, Russell,
thanks, man.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we will chat with you. We'll know who will be in the Super Bowl the next time we talk.
Definitely, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you. Russell Copeland on the National Football League, brought to you by another great Tiger supporter. That's Matt Eflin. Even in his phone number, he loves the Tigers because he put GUR in there, 386-GUR. That's 4777, 901-386-4777 if you want to be protected and taken care of the right way. And that's the way the Eflin team does it. Matt's going to sit down with you. He's going to get to know you. He's going to know what your needs may be and what your budget is so that he can match you perfectly, whether it's for home insurance, an auto program, maybe it is life insurance. Don't forget that. It's important. Matt will find out all about you and your family, and then with whatever you've got set aside for this kind of protection, he makes sure it is put to the best use. And same thing with commercial insurance. He especially is very creative and an expert on small to mid-sized business protection. So, again, if you're ready to be protected the right way and have a great partnership with a great insurance firm, call 901-386-GUR. That's the Eflin Insurance Team. We take a break. When we come back, we will go down to Baton Rouge and talk a little SEC basketball with our SEC historian. That is Ron Higgins. He's next.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing is now currently hiring all positions. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, please apply today. Choate's is offering huge sign-on bonuses to seasoned technicians, plumbers, installers, and air duct cleaners. At Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, we offer a career, not just a job, by putting you in a paid training program to develop your technical and customer service skills to best serve our customers. Choate's offers top pay in the Mid-South, weekly pay, paid vacation and holidays, company matching retirement account, health, dental, vision, and life insurance, and Christmas, Thanksgiving, and birthday bonuses. If this sounds like an exciting opportunity for you, then we should talk. So call us at 347-8086 or apply online at choateshvac.com under the careers link. Come, join our family.
If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right. With the free Get Upside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people have earned cash back with Get Upside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Upside. Some months I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. It's just free money for buying gas.
There's no catch. It's simple. And you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents per gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code GET for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Earn cash back on gas on every fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code GET for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GET.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
It doesn't matter how much you owe on your trade-in. It doesn't matter if you've got bad credit. Everybody saves big during Sunrise Buick GMC's year-end blowout. Hundreds of new and used Buicks and GMCs with a $5 million used car inventory, specializing in cars and trucks under $10,000. Remember, Sunrise wants to get you financed. Bad credit, bankrupt, slow pay, it's okay. Sunrise specializes in secondary financing and works to get you financed when no one else can. Zero down with approved credit delivers at Sunrise. Buy American and buy from SunriseMemphis.com. Collierville, Covington Pike, and Wolf Chase. We make it fun to buy a car again.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
You heard the man. We're brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. That is where I think they've raised the bar. That's the standard for the way car business should be done. And Chris True, their general manager, likes to remind everybody with this shortage of new cars, they've got some. You'll never pay more than sticker at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You'll never get a Hyundai or a Genesis car for over the sticker price. It's always right there. Some other dealers are not doing that because of the shortage, law of supply and demand. Not at Homer. This is why I think they set the standard. Get on Lamar into Mississippi, turn left, exit 1, Craft Road. You're there. You're at the best place to buy a car that I know of. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai. To Baton Rouge we go. Normally we talk to our SEC historian, Ron Higgins, about a lot of SEC. We'll get into that too. But I got to ask you, Ron, are you shocked with what happened with Chris Mack at Louisville? I really don't get that.
Yeah, I mean, they've had so many problems for so long. I guess that they just want to try to get this stuff in the bud when it happens. I mean, I guess, all the stuff dates back to Patino days, and they try to get it corrected. And I guess when you try to get something corrected like that, you'd like it corrected and to have no off-the-court problems involving your coaches. And I think, they just hold. I just nip it in the bud, I guess, to quote the great Barney Fife. And so now you got to carry on and try to find somebody else. I mean, there's a debate. Is it a great job? Is it a good job? Is it as good as it used to be? I don't know. I mean, it's all relative.
Well, I would say this. It was a great job when Denny Crum and Rick Pitino had that job. Yeah. Since then, what have they had? 4 coaches since 2016? I think that's right. Or this will be the 4th coach since 2016. And some people are saying, well, maybe you ought to go after Bruce Pearl. Steve Forbes might be a guy. I don't know. Steve Forbes is an awfully good coach. And, of course, he coached with Bruce Pearl at Tennessee when they all kind of went down the tubes. Would you leave Auburn, and he's made that a pretty good basketball school at the moment, but would you leave Auburn to go to Louisville?
No. Nope. Auburn has their resources. I mean, they're in a league that has more money. I mean, if I'm Louisville, I mean, this nothing against Bruce Pearl, but if Louisville is indeed wants to be squeaky clean, Bruce has a track record. I mean, it follows him.
True.
I mean, just on the surface, I'm not saying Bruce is involved in anything right now, but he's had stuff. I mean, the thing at Tennessee was really just absolutely just ridiculously minor. The whole when you look back now at some NCAA rules, the way they're being enforced now, what's legal, what's not legal, having a recruit at a barbecue was just stupid. You know, I mean, and he lied to the NCAA about it because honestly, he lied because the rule's so stupid. He thought he could get by with lying about it. But the other stuff at Auburn was more serious. And if I'm Louisville, I would. It's kind of like LSU in the football coach situation. Honestly, they wanted somebody who, for the most part, was above reproach. And the only thing on Brian Kelly's black mark in his record was he had that student worker die at a practice. You know,
right.
And so I mean, there are a lot of people at LSU probably would like to look at, but they backed off of them because of something NCAA related or something off the field. And so this is probably the same thing with Bruce Pearl. But if I'm him, I'm staying where I am. He's got it going good. He's got a good fan base.
He's made that fan base, really. I mean, when Tony Barbee was there, they weren't drawn like they are now. They got somebody was saying the average ticket, I guess it was on the secondary market, but the average ticket for the Kentucky-Auburn game last Saturday was $250.
Yeah. So he's built it. He's got it going. There's no reason to keep moving. I'm sure Louisville will find somebody decent. But if I'm Bruce Pearl, I'm staying where I am because he's got it going too good at this point.
I don't know where Louisville will go. It's to me. I mean, Mack was such a good coach at Xavier. I just it boggles my mind. Yeah, J-Mo just mouthed through the glass. They could go back to Rick Pitino. Whew. I don't think Pitino's going anywhere. What a story he is at Iona. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's been there and done that. And the stuff that went on in Louisville was pretty seedy. He didn't want to go back and revisit that. Just doesn't. Does not want to revisit that.
You were mentioning LSU and their football search, and they came up with a guy that really, other than allowing or making that guy go up on the tower, that unfortunately killed him in a windy situation when the thing collapsed. That was awful. But other than that, he's obviously a squeaky clean kind of a guy. Are you surprised at all that Wade is still the coach at LSU with all of the wiretap evidence and everything else? And he just basically thumbed his nose at the NCAA, and so far he's gotten away with it, Will Wade.
It's on the NCAA. They're the ones that are the problem. They haven't processed the stuff yet. I mean, how much do they have? I don't know how much they have. I mean, the wiretap stuff sounded bad, but you got to go find the tangible evidence besides a coach talking about it. You know, they got to go find it. I mean, did he do it or not? I mean, I don't know, but the wiretaps, you know, you listen to that and you go, oh my God,
right?
It's still hooked up in the NCAA process. And they have some kind of special committee now, or that goes through whatever it is that's separate of the other stuff, the enforcement process they have, and it's still hooked up in that with a lot of other cases. It may be the summer or next season before they even get to it. I don't understand, you know, what the holdup is. If they, you know, I should say, if they do have something, I think LSU would like to say, you know, would you please come forward with something? If you got something, process it. You know, don't let us twist in the wind. What's unique here is most of the time when something like that happens, it hurts your recruiting to the point it's like you're on probation.
Well, the longer this goes, Ron, the better it is for LSU, the worse it is for Will, because the way they are doing this now is they're going to point more of the finger at the particular coach than they are school, because they don't think that the current school and those players should have to pay a price. Ron, as always, we appreciate it. We'll spend a little more time next week. Thank you so much.
Take care, Waldo. We'll see you.
You got it. That is our SEC historian. That is Ron Higgins down in Baton Rouge. He's brought to you by Ken. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows it's a big decision. You're making way for that dream house. Maybe you're looking for land for the dream house. Maybe you've got the land. You're not sure how to utilize it. Ken does. He knows. Ken knows for sure. He's been doing it. He started with his dad about 50 years ago. They've been together, and they have built or renovated, renovation with innovation, beautiful homes across the Metroplex. Please go and see KenGarland.com. Check it out. Then make the call, 751-1632. He's fun to talk to because he sees the little details and the big picture all at the same time. He's the perfect guy. And nothing is finished until everything is perfect for you. Again, 751-1632. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Thanks to Jason Munns and Russell Copeland and Ron Higgins. Penny Hardaway tomorrow, 10:30. See you then.
Bellyacre's motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal